Hello everyone, this is Mr. Navratil here. In this video we're going to be taking a look at how to create the Lego brick in Onshape. This is going to be teaching us a little bit about copying and pasting sketches so that you don't have to kind of create the same thing over and over again. And you're able to make something like this that has repetitive features. Now, to be noted, this brick is almost reminiscent of a Lego brick on the top. We are not going to be bothering with the bottom section to actually connect it in, because this is just kind of a learning tool. So we're going to start off like we always do. We're going to hit Onshape here and go back to the dashboard. We're going to click Create and then Document. We are going to name this the Lego brick, and I will hit Enter. I'm going to wait a second while this loads up. The first step for the Lego brick is, again, as always, we're going to hit Sketch, and we're going to click on the front plane. We're going to use our view cube over here. We're going to go to the front, and we're going to create a rectangle that's then going to be extruded for the brick. So I'm going to start at the origin and come up. I'm then going to use the dimension tool, and we are going to dimension the length of this brick at 1.25 inches. So we can zoom in a little bit here, and we are going to dimension the side. So I'm going to click on the side and come out and click again, and this is going to be 0.625. And I'll hit Enter. So at this point, it's just pretty rudimentary. It's just a rectangle. So we're going to come up and we're going to hit the Finish Sketch button here. I'm going to change our view on the view cube on the corner. Zoom in a little bit, and then we're going to come up and hit the Extrude tool. This is going to allow us to click on the rectangle and determine its depth. And the depth of the Lego brick is going to be 0.375, and I'll hit Enter, and then I'll hit OK. Now, the top of the brick is actually here now, so we're going to want to kind of flip this around a little bit so we can see it better. The next step is to make all of the little nubs on the top that make a Lego brick. So to do that, we're going to hit Sketch. We're going to click on the top of the brick here, and then we can go ahead and hit the front view of the view cube. So we're going to start off with just the circle tool as a drawing tool. We're going to click, and we're going to draw a circle, and we're actually going to draw one more as well. And again, this video is just to introduce the fact that we can Control C, Control V, in other words, copy and paste a lot of these features over so that we don't have to keep drawing them repetitively. So I am going to hit the dimension tool though, because we kind of want these nubs on the top of the brick to be exactly where we want. So the first step is to click on the center of one of the circles and the outside of the brick here, and we're going to come up. I'm going to click a third time, and I'm going to change that dimension to 0.175. I'm also going to do the same thing with the bottom. So I'm going to click on the center of this circle and the side of the cube here and come down, and that's also going to be 0.175. Now there's a couple more dimensions that we have to add in. We do need to tell the program how far away it is from the bottom. So interestingly enough, for this particular project, that's actually going to be the same dimension. So we're going to click on the center of the circle, the bottom of the cube, and we're going to come over, and that's also going to be 0.175. And we can do the same for the top. So if I click on the top and the center of the circle and out and over, 0.175. Now the only thing that we're missing is the actual size of the circles. So we're just going to simply click on this, the actual circle here, and come out, and that's going to be 0.15 inches. And the other circle is also going to be 0.15 inches. So it's at this point that we have the two circles that are going to make the top of the Lego brick all set. And instead of going through and drawing this a whole bunch of other times, we're going to hit the Escape tool to get out of any of our tools on the top. And we're simply going to click and drag over the two circles. So I'll do that one more time. Hit the Escape tool, and then just click and drag over the two circles. I'm going to hit Control C, in other words, copy, and then I'm going to hit Control V. And that will put in a copy of our sketch right here. Now there's a bunch of different things that we can change about this when it pops in. So we can go straight up and down with this arrow. We can go straight horizontally with this arrow. We can change the scale of these two circles very easily. by clicking and dragging the arrow here. And we can also change the angle at which they're coming in with this. So if we click and drag over there, we can change which angle. We're going to actually care about mostly the square. The square, if we click and drag that, is going to allow us to move it wherever we want. So we can just put this here, and when you're all said and done, you notice my cursor is changed into like a mouse that has a little green check mark. So if I come over to the side and I just hit the green check mark, it will place that in. Now we do need a total of, let's see, 8 of them. So we're going to hit paste again. We're going to bring those here and then confirm by clicking over on the side, and then we're going to hit paste one more time and confirm by clicking on the side. Now we're not trying to get them perfect because we do still have to dimension these copy and pasted items, and that's what we're going to do now. So the dimension here is going to be the same for everything. We're going to hit the center of the circle and the top of the cube, and we're going to change that to 0.175. Center of the circle, top of the cube, 0.175, and we're kind of going to rinse and repeat this for all of these circles. So the distance between here and here is also 0.175, and this circle is going to be 0.175. Now you notice we don't have to change the size of the circles themselves because they were copy and pasted. And then finally, distance between here and here is 0.175. Now, what we're missing at the moment, though, is the actual spacing between these circles, because it is a little bit off-centered. So to change that, we're simply going to click on the center of one circle, the center of the second circle. We're going to come up, and we're going to hit 0.3. Now, if you do that for each one, it will allow us to center them or space them out exactly. So click here, and go up, and that's 0.3. And you do not need to do the final dimension between here and here, as it will hopefully be the same. So we're going to hit center of this circle at 0.3. Oops, 0.3. And we're going to continue that with the following circles. 0.3, center, I'm going to click once, click twice, go down, 0.3. So it is at this point that we have actually centered all of these. They're spaced out accordingly between each other. They're spaced out between the top and the center of them as well. So we're all set, and we're going to go ahead and hit the check mark button here, which is just going to allow us to extrude these. So we're going to click the extrude button right next to sketch and click once, and we can actually select all of these at the same time. So I'm going to select all 8, 7, and 8. Now obviously that doesn't really remind us of a Lego brick. We're going to go ahead and change the depth that we're extruding to 0.01. Oh, I'm sorry, actually we're going to extrude that to 0.075. So the 0.01 is actually going to be the next step. So it's 0.075, and we're going to hit the check mark. And now we have something that looks like a Lego brick. What I thought would be interesting to add into this, especially to add into copying and pasting sketches, is a little word that says brick on the top of each of these. So we're going to do that very simply by hitting sketch again. We're going to come down and we're going to actually select the top of one of the nubs here. So I'm going to click on this, and that will allow us to have our digital piece of paper right on the top of essentially all of them. We're going to hit the front view so we can see better, and we're going to zoom in. Now at this point we're going to use the text tool. So we're going to come up, we're going to click on text, and we're just going to make a little box that goes on the inside of that. And we're going to type the word brick and hit enter. Now it's very possible that this text kind of enlarges itself so it doesn't fit anymore, and we can fix that very easily. We're going to come up and we're going to find the transform tool. So by default it might look like this for you on your screen, and that's the linear pattern tool. But if we hit the little arrow next to it and we come down and we hit transform, and then we click on the side of the text here, we can change the scale so that it's going to fit on the inside. So I'm just clicking and dragging this arrow, and I'm clicking and dragging the square to center it inside of the circle here. Now it'll be kind of difficult to see, so if you want to zoom in a little bit, this is going to be the new size, and we can move that over just a little bit to center it a little bit better, zoom back out, and then we can hit on the side to confirm. So that will change the size, and it will put it kind of on the inside of that little nub. Now, instead of going through and doing that 7 more times, we're going to click on the text here, and we're going to hit Control-C and Control-V. Now, at this point, the text might have kind of jumped off your screen, so you might have to zoom out, find it, and use the square tool to move it where you want on the actual circle. We'll confirm that, and then we're just going to kind of repeat the process a couple times here so that we have the brick letters on the inside. Now, sometimes in doing these models, we don't really necessarily need to worry about putting in dimensions for them. You're going to want to try and center them on the inside of each of these circles as best as possible. But as far as making them perfect and getting the length and width centered inside, we don't have to worry too much. It'll be kind of negligible, difficult to tell either way. So I'm just hitting Control V each time, and we're actually going to have to transform this one because I misclicked. There we go. Now be careful not to adhere it to the side there. You want it to be in the middle, and we'll confirm there. And then we're going to do one final one. We're going to hit Control V, and we're going to come down, zoom in, and put it in the center. Now, as I mentioned before, this is not something that we need to dimension each of these. We could potentially get them exactly centered in the middle of each of these circles, but like I said, it's going to be negligible. So we're all set. We have the word brick on the inside of each one of those nubs. We're going to hit the little green check mark to finish our sketch. We're going to come up and hit the corner of our view cube and zoom in pretty far here because we are going to select the extrude tool as we normally do, and we're going to select those letters. Now, as they pop out, you'll notice that by default, again, it comes out as an inch. As cool as that would be to try and 3D print, we need to change that so it's a little bit more realistic. So for our depth here, we are going to choose 0.01, and you're going to hit Enter. Once you hit the green check mark and zoom in a little bit, you'll notice they extruded out, and that is how we are creating the Lego brick.